Here are my note cards. Here I have my timer. I'm gonna start right now.
Audience members, thank you.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventures has been one of the most impactful literary pieces of art of all time. In a CBR article published on July 27, 2024, they estimate that JoJo's Bizarre Adventures has grossed an enormous amount of $9.8 billion worldwide. Today I'll be informing you about JoJo's Bizarre Adventures' debut on December 2nd, 1986. Firstly, we will talk about what is JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. Secondly, a Rocky Hirohiko. And lastly, JoJo's Bizarre Adventures' impact on the real world. Firstly, what is JoJo's Bizarre Adventures? JoJo's Bizarre Adventures is a book series spanning multiple books, and it's about a family fighting against evil and shares common themes of humanity and persevering against evil. In an interview published on YouTube on October 24, 2020, Rocky Hirohiko, the author of JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, talks about the sadness of being born and living in the shadows of humanity. But then he also talks about how these characters persevere and fight versus evil, which really inspires me to keep going when I'm at my lowest moments. In JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, the main characters are named Joestars or JoJo's, and they are connected by a family curse or in a magazine published on April 15, 1996 by Shonen Jump Weekly. A character by the name of Koichi talks about how these characters are connected by a golden spirit which helps them do good. In JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, they have a power system of stands and hamon. And hamon is a breathing style which harnesses the power of the sun to defeat supernatural enemies. And stands are a form of hamon which personifies someone's soul and comes in many different forms. From what is JoJo's Bizarre Adventures to Hirohiko Araki, or as I will now refer to him as Araki, we talk about his life before JoJo's in a lecture given and translated by Comic Press on June 30th, 2006. He talks about how his previous endeavors had not much success, and he went to an editor on the Shonen Jump Weekly building, and they told him that his work was good, but just needed some minor fixes, and to enter in the Tezuka Awards, which he later did and ended up winning the runner-up award. Developments in JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. In a lecture in the previous mentioned lecture on June 30th, 2006 by Comic Press, he mentions how JoJo's Bizarre Adventures characters were first inspired by the likes of Terminator, Rambo, and Clint Eastwood. But then later in the interview published on YouTube on October 24th, 2020, he talks about how his characters were now inspired by the likes of Michelangelo's David and have much more softer features. After JoJo's Bizarre Adventures was created, it is said in the CBR articles published on March 8th and July 27th, 2024, about how JoJo's Bizarre Adventures has grossed an enormous amount of $9.8 billion, and Araki Hirohiko himself is now worth from around $13 to $15 million, which has impacted him because he's now able to do what he loves and create stories. From Araki Hirohiko to JoJo's Bizarre Adventures' effect on the real world. In an interview with the editor of Demon Slayer, published on February 5th, 2020 by Live Door News, they talk about JoJo's Bizarre Adventures and how it has impacted their world in the form of their power system, which is called breathing styles, and how it closely relates to hamon and their users and breathing. And also, if you do a quick Google search, you will see that there's many JoJo references throughout many pieces of media. Also, JoJo's Bizarre Adventures has been inspired by the real world, as you can see in the second book released on May 5th, 2015 by Shueisha. They have the exact same newspaper from the Real World article by Illustrated Police News, a newspaper released on September 8th, 1888. JoJo's Bizarre Adventures has also impacted the art scene as it is a comic book. And in the article released on March 12, 2023 by Nerdiction, we see a list of Araki Hirohiko's um, inspiration and uh, of his inspirations, and we see these infamous JoJo poses that have been released, causing such things as TikTok trends and songs. And also, JoJo Bizarre Adventures has impacted the fashion world as on August 23rd, 2011, a Gucci collab was announced with JoJo Bizarre Adventures to celebrate the 90th anniversary of Gucci and the 30th anniversary of Hirohiko Araki. And they released a real world exhibit that stayed up for a while in Tokyo, and a website called JoJo'sNews.com released a list on November 30th, 2001 or 2021. It released a list of merchandise such as clothes, drinks, shoes, and even watches. In conclusion, we talked about JoJo's Bizarre Adventures debut on December 2nd, 1986. And we've talked about what is JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, Araki Hirohiko, and the effects it had on the real world. My memorable statement is an X post made on May 9, 2023 by Araki Hirohiko himself, where he says that, "I'd say living with a positive outlook is the theme of JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. It is a celebration of humanity."